Hello and welcome to CivilNet. I'm here with my guest, Peter Abajian, the director of the Paros Foundation. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
And Alexander Asdourian, you are one of the students participating in Paros's summer program here in Armenia. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So Peter, the Paros Foundation does a number of projects in Armenia, border development, school renovation, but I want to focus specifically on the student program. And you started this in 2013, bringing this year 21 students from the United States to do various projects in Armenia. Could you just talk a little bit about how that idea arose and what you've been doing this summer?
Terrific, thank you. The Paros Foundation launched Service Armenia with the idea that we can bridge the gap between diaspora and young people and Armenia through meaningful service work. So our initial program was in 2013. It was actually started because my daughters wanted to come to Armenia with a group of their friends and have an engaging experience. So rather than simply produce a program that would tour young people around and let them have fun in Armenia, we wanted to create something that would let them put some sweat equity into Armenia and really make a difference with something that they could take pride in. So when they go back home, they can say, I did that, I was able to do. And over the years, we've had almost 100 students go through the program. So we have now almost 100 alumni. And I think it works. Over the years, we found that from year to year, we have typically 30–35% of them return the following summer, either with our program or with other programs.
And Alex, since you participated in the program this year, I wanted to start off by asking you what your experience has been, and particularly as a young American Armenian coming to Armenia and working here for several weeks.
I think the main thing that I take away from it is this new bond with the cities and with the people and with the culture as a whole, because there's so much symbolism and cultural representation on every building here, and there's so much history that you can learn about, and you really become connected to the soil. Like you see people returning to Artsakh after getting their land back, and they're kissing the soil and doing things that don't really make sense to anyone in a first world environment. And to have this sort of realization that this is where my family was less than 100 years ago, it's extremely humbling, and it gives me a new perspective that when I take it back to those environments back in the United States, I have an advantage over people because things don't affect me the same way, and I'm looking a lot more towards the future, and hopefully when I can bring things more full circle for myself and give back independently to the city.
And could you talk specifically about what you guys have been doing this summer in Armenia?
Yeah, so I also was here for 2 weeks in 2013, and I got to tag along with Peter and some of the workers, and Tom's Shoes had worked with the Paros Foundation, and we've been sizing kids' feet because they can't really walk to school and they don't have shoes to do so. So donating them shoes so they can walk to the school was something that was extremely impactful for me. And we also did flooring and painting of walls and renovating of the interior of school buildings. And we did a lot of that same stuff this year, as well as a newer project where we put together backpacks and donated them to individual kids from the Debbie Arch Children's Center in Gyumri. And seeing how a lot of these things have gone from, okay, let's just try to get them to school, and now let's put computers and let's put these things in front of their hands where they can develop skill sets and bring funds into their families and start their own lives. That's been an unbelievable thing to see over the past 4 years.
Yeah. And Peter, you mentioned one of the goals of the program is to bridge the gap between Armenian youth in the diaspora and those in Armenia. How specifically do you try to do that?
A couple of different ways, both through the service work and the physical act of getting them here and having them engage. So the first thing we try to do is give them a good tour of Armenia. So of the 30 days there, the participants are in country, we're touring about 10 of the days, and they're working about 20 of the days. So 10 days, they see Gyumri, Sevan, all the regular sites, but we also do the trip to Artsakh, and they have a chance to engage and see what's going on and develop their own conclusions and ask questions. We try to organize discussion nights throughout the summer where they're able to talk with one another. The participants are from all over the U.S. This particular year. Last year we actually had a couple of kids from overseas as well. So it was nice in that they were able to meet one another from all around the world and then understand different perspectives. You know, we don't have criteria on the participants other than you have to be here for a month and you have to follow the rules and you have to work hard. Some are a quarter Armenian, some are full Armenian. Some speak Armenian, some don't speak Armenian. Some have gone to Armenian school, some haven't gone to Armenian school. And as all that comes together, they interact in a really exciting way, and it creates a new, you know, like William Saroyan said, it creates a new Armenia. And then when that new Armenia connects with this Armenia through our work, working directly with kids. One of the best programs projects we implement is we call it orphan excursion. But what we do is we basically take groups of children that are living in facilities in Armenia, take them out of the facility for the day and do something hands-on with them. We took one group from our children's center in Yerevan that we support, Roranj, and we took that group of kids, and they're not orphans, they're just at-risk kids. We took them to Ashtarag Zor, and our kids and their kids all played together for the day. You know, and then a couple of them, as they were leaving, told me they've connected on Instagram, they've connected on Facebook already. So, you know, we're bridging that gap in having them connect with one another, so they understand that the world's smaller now, probably thanks to social media and the internet, but at the same time they can get a better appreciation for each other's outlook and future expectations and desires. So it's pretty cool the way those things come together. And then when they go to a school in some village, a couple of years ago we were working in Hatzig, we finished our work there, and now we've moved on to this year Lichashen, south of Lake Sevan, and Vahan, north of Lake Sevan. And as we're working there, we get a chance usually to run into the kids there too. And it's amazing for the local children to see our kids, and it's amazing for our kids to have a chance to, you know, not only see the local kids, but spend some time with them and leave a positive mark on the country.
And you mentioned that the students are only here for about a month. What do you hope are the long-term takeaways when they go back to the States that they bring back with them, and then also the long-term impacts on Armenia of the work that they do?
So these guys are pretty bright kids. They're not, you know, they're not just here for the party. So, you know, when they're here, they're really smart. They're paying attention. They're asking questions, and when they go back, you know, they're going to be successful. So at some point, we have, you know, an army of these young, smart, you know, potentially successful young people in the diaspora that have this connection to Armenia. So that's sort of one level. The second level is they go back and they can do something right now. They can immediately decide they want to do, you know, they want to pick a children's center and provide them with 100 backpacks and start working with their friends and their family members to, you know, raise the funds, raise the supplies, and make those connections. We've had students from past years go back and decide, I'm going to implement a small project, and they take that challenge on. Or, you know, Alexander decides he doesn't need, you know, a new iPad, but what he needs is, you know, to have birthday donations come in so he can support something that he was really passionate about while he was here. It's an amazing opportunity when these guys go back and they're jazzed. You know, it's like having an army of cheerleaders. And, you know, the second part of this is there's many other excellent programs that are giving these young people an opportunity to engage in Armenia. So, you know, we're the month program, and our niche is sort of 17 to 22. If they're younger than 17 or older than 22, you know, they don't fit into our mold, but they might do our program when they're 17 and then come back and do Birthright, for instance, when they're 19, or HBU program when they're, you know, 19 or 20. So there's other opportunities, and ours tends to start that process for a lot of these guys.
And Alex, I want to ask you directly now, what was one of the most meaningful experiences of this summer for you, and what specifically are you taking back home?
I think the one that impacted me the most, there's two that stand out. There's working with the disabled kids and taking them to the zoo. We had you know, it's sort of uncomfortable at first. You don't really know how to interact. You don't really know how you should interact, especially for me, I don't speak Armenian. But after 20 minutes, like, it doesn't matter. And you're just spending time together, and that discomfort left me completely. And I think that was something that was extremely beneficial to my personal growth and on universal levels. And second standout is the ArtSoc War Memorial, because all of these tombstones have these etched pictures of these, you know, gentlemen's faces. And I was looking at this one man who looks somewhat like me, born in 1996 and was killed in the war last year. And as these two soldiers come up and kiss their tombstone, I must have cried 12 times, like walking away, and over and over and over again. And then after that, we went to the Genocide Memorial, and then we went to Echmiadzin and had communion. And that was an unbelievably purifying day, and something that I think changed my life forever. Just those three experiences all in that one day was unbelievable.
And what skills have you developed that you think you can use in your future endeavors?
I think that beginning to learn Armenian and the language, and my mom does speak it, but my dad doesn't, so that's probably why it never really got passed down to me. I think if I can take it into my own hands, and this program has made me care now. Now I really want to learn the language, and I don't need my parents to tell it to me. I can figure out the best way that I'm going to learn it myself, and I'm going to make that happen. That's going to provide more ability for me to give back when I come here, and more ability for me to connect better with Armenians back in the States and network, and again form more little Armenias and new Armenians all over the place.
If I may add to Alexander's response about his skill set, I joked throughout the summer with the group in its entirety. The first project after our excursions with some of the kids was to work on pouring a subfloor in the village of Kanakaravan at the art school there that we've done some work in the past, and we're continuing to do some work. So I tell these guys, if college doesn't work out, they have a hell of a career doing cement work.
And there's common sense stuff that gets applied, like a certain way to mix the cement, all of that. It's super basic, but when you're in it and you're passionate and your heart's in it, like, you really start training your brain to think creatively and get things done more effectively.
That's a good note to end on. So thank you both so much for joining me here today.
Thank you so much for having us.
And thank you for watching CivilNet.